Well, hi boys and girls, it's great to be with you again. Yes, Alfie says he's happy as well. You enjoy these times, don't you? Yeah, you like the stories, and Alfie's particularly excited at the moment because, as you know, we are starting to get near to Christmas time, and the lights are starting to appear, and we're starting to make preparations, aren't we? You started making a Christmas list. I thought you might. I gotta guess what you're asking for. Now, would it begin with C? No, I just guessed. Chocolate. Yes, I thought it might be. Yeah, Alfie's hoping to get lots of chocolate for Christmas. And you're going to share some with me? Maybe. Okay, fine. You know, boys and girls, it's nice to look forward to something, and to look forward to something that you know is when something really good is going to happen. And Christmas can be a little bit like that. But we got a story today about somebody who waited and waited and waited and nothing happened. Do you want to hear it? You got a question for me? I know what the question is. Does it have a happy ending? You'll have to wait and see. Give you a clue. Okay, yes it does. Okay? Right. Okay. Well, this happened a long time ago, in the days of the Bible. And it's all about two old people. Were they as old as me? Well, they probably were, actually. They were really getting on in years. And you know, their names were Zacharias and Elizabeth. Zacharias and Elizabeth were really good people. Zacharias was a priest. He served in God's temple and he served God. And Elizabeth, his wife, she was a very good woman as well. And you know, these two, there was one thing that they always wanted. They always wanted a little child. Somebody they could call their own. And they never had a little child. They waited and waited and waited, and the little child never came. It's quite sad, isn't it? And now they were really old and they thought, well, it's too late now. We're obviously never going to be parents. We're never going to have a family. Well, one day, Zachariah was working in the temple. What was he doing? Well, he was doing things like he was burning incense and offering sacrifices to God, and then after that he had to go out to the people and speak to them for God, sort of give them God's message. A little bit like a preacher in church, a little bit like that, yes. And he was there in the temple and he was doing all his jobs, and suddenly he turned round and there was somebody standing there. And Zacharias looked at him and he thought, wow, because he'd never seen anybody like this before. And he realized it was one of God's angels. Have you ever seen an angel? No, not me. But you know, they can be quite frightening. They're quite amazing beings. And this angel, whose name was Gabriel, yeah, it's the same one that went to Mary. That's right. Yeah, good. He said, Zacharias, God has heard your prayers. Zacharias thought, what prayers are those? I pray all the time. And the angel said, God has heard your prayers and your wife Elizabeth is going to have a baby boy. Now, Zacharias and Elizabeth have been praying for a baby for years and years and years and nothing happened. And God, the angel says, God is going to give you a baby boy. And Zacharias said, that can't happen. We're too old now. It's too late. And the angel looked at him sadly and said, I stand in the presence of God, and what God says is always right. God doesn't tell lies, and God doesn't make mistakes. Because you didn't believe what I said, from this moment on, you won't be able to talk. And you won't be able to talk until your little boy is born. And do you know what Zacharias said? No, he didn't say sorry. Do you know what he said? He didn't say anything, because he couldn't talk. He opened his mouth and nothing came out. and Zacharias couldn't talk at all. Now that was a bit of a problem, because the next thing he had to do was go out to the people and talk to them, and he couldn't. He went outside and all the people were there wondering what Zacharias was doing, why he was taking such a long time in the temple. And Zacharias opened his mouth and he couldn't speak. And he went home to his wife Elizabeth. He still couldn't speak. He couldn't tell her what had happened. So he wrote it all down. And you know, when Elizabeth heard that, she was so happy. Because a year later, you never guess what? They had a little boy, that's right. But you know, the angel told him one more thing. He said, when your little boy is born, I want you to call him John. Do you like that name? Yeah. And he said, he is going to prepare the way for God's son. Well, the little boy was born. And everybody was so happy, especially Zacharias and Elizabeth, because they had their little baby boy at last. A week later, they came to the time when he had to be named. And everybody was gathered for a big party. And some of them said, well, I think we should call them after his dad. And Elizabeth said, no, he's going to be called John. And they said, you can't call him John. Nobody in your family is called John. So they called Zacharias over. And he sort of made signs, and he asked for something to write with, and he picked up a pen and started writing on the parchment, and he wrote, his name is John. And as soon as he did that, suddenly he was able to talk again. And he told everybody what had happened. And as everybody looked at this little boy, they thought, this little boy is going to be somebody special. And he was. When he grew up, he had a very special job to do. He had the job of telling people that Jesus was coming and that Jesus had arrived. But that's another story again. For now we're going to leave that, because some other exciting things are happening not so very far away from where John lived and from where Zacharias and Elizabeth lived. But we're going to hear about that next week. Let's leave it there for now, shall we? Oh, he said thank you for a happy ending. Okay, boys and girls, hope you like the story. We're going to carry it on next week, and we'll find out what happened next in the story of John the Baptist.